everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Andrew, and I'm a co-founder here at SimpleStack. And today we are looking at how to use Fillout forms with your Airtable solution. Now, let me just tell you, if I could only use one other tool in addition to Airtable for just about anything, I would probably choose Fillout because of its flexibility, its versatility, and its ability to impact your solutions and how they are built. So we're going to take a look at the basics of Fillout, how to connect it up, how to use it, and a couple of things that I want to highlight before we jump in. One, you can use Fillout forms to send information into Airtable for those that do not have an Airtable license. Two, you can build portal-like solutions that allow someone to create an account, log in, and see a variety of different forms and say to-do tasks or onboarding tasks. And three, you can even update existing information in your Airtable without having to have someone pay for a license in order to get access to your Airtable data. If any of those three, or if all of those three sound interesting, you're going to want to stick around, and we're going to jump right into it. Okay, so I've got a pretty simple base here, and let me walk us through what our use case is going to be today. So we are managing a content calendar. And as the editorial team, we want to be able to receive submissions for us to sort of give them a status of review before they go live on our website, let's say. Okay, so we're this internal team and we need to be able to receive submissions, sort of take a look at that information. But on the other end of it, for the contributors that are sending us submissions, they don't have access to Airtable, but they need to be able to see what they've submitted. They need to be able to update information that they've previously submitted, etc. Okay, so that's going to be our use case, and it's structured very simply. We're going to be primarily taking a look at this this grid view on the content pipeline. So this has fields such as status, headline, creator, image, channels, etc. Okay. Now, what you're going to want to do is roll over to Fillout and create an account. And when you first log in, this is what you're going to see. You're going to want to create a new form. And you can create from a template, which will have a variety of sort of templated options that you can choose from. I think when learning, though, it makes sense to sort of just start with a blank form. So that's what we're going to do. And we are going to start with sort of just the plain here, okay? Now, keep in mind, visually, you can do a lot of things in Fillout, and that's one of the beauties. But for now, we're going to focus on the utility and the function. We're going to give this a form, or a name to our form. So let's call this new contributor submission. Okay, and this is the form that folks will use to submit a piece of content into our database for review. And on the left-hand side, we have our field options, okay? This you can think of as our artist's canvas. So this is where we are going to drag items and start working with them, whether that is display text or some sort of an alert. Okay, and each of these items that we use allows us to customize it further. So for instance, all of the customization when you click on the field will show up here on the right. So you can layer in logic such as when does this field show up? You can do some basic styling information, and every different field type has some different options. So for instance, on this banner element, I can sort of change the alert type and work with some of these different options that may not exist if I was just using a drop-down as an example, which may be a list of different things that I can customize, okay? Now, all of that to say, when you first create this, what I would suggest you do is first connect your Airtable, and it's pretty easy to do. I'm going to show you how to do it right now. The connections are specific to the form. So you can only connect one Airtable to a Fillout form. And you can do that through this integrations section tab. You can select the integration you want to use. We want to use Airtable, and we're going to go ahead and connect to Airtable. When you do that, if you're already logged into your Airtable, it's going to come up and ask you if you want to add just a specific base or the entire organization. And I'm just going to use the entire workspace that we have. Okay. And we're going to say grant access. So that's given Fillout access to my Airtable workspace. Now I can select the base that we want to use. So we're going to be using this content calendar base. And I have a bunch of different ones. Let's go ahead and grab the correct one. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and type in example calendar, which is what I have renamed it, and there it is. The table that we want to update or write information to, what is the name of that? That is content pipeline, as you can see. So we're going to go ahead and select that and click continue. Now at this point, you can decide, are we going to be creating a record or are we going to be updating a record? And this is an important decision to make. What we're going to do for this first one is create a record, okay? And we're going to go ahead and just finish the setup. So you see now when we navigate back over to our original canvas here, we have Airtable fields and we have other. So Airtable fields actually bring in the fields that exist in the Airtable. So you'll see we have channels here now as a choice. This is a select, multiple select. Okay, so it allows me to select several options, and all of these options are based on the options that have been defined in the channels field. So you can see those here. So once you have that integration up and running, it becomes a lot easier to build your form because it is sort of the fields are set up based on what you already have in your Airtable database. Okay. So specifically for this, we're going to want to capture a bunch of information about the submission. Okay. We're going to give it a static heading and we're going to say here, this is new submission, new content submission. Okay. And let's go ahead and throw a divider in there. Now we're going to throw a paragraph in there that we're going to say, please fill out this form to send us a new submission for review. Okay. And we want to know the headline of their submission. So that's going to be this. That's the headline. We're going to want them to give it a name and a subheadline. So let's go ahead and grab those. So let's do name, headline, subheadline. They can upload an image. They can tag the channels. We're going to go ahead and decide the status. So we're not going to include that. And they can give it a due date. Okay. So this is now a really easy basic form where they can come in, give their content name, headline, subheadline, the channels, the due date, and the image. Now we can also do things with requiring certain fields and validating certain information. We're going to be doing that as a follow-up to this basic tutorial on how to set a form up. You can also use placeholder and caption text. So for the caption, I could say, what is the name of your content idea / submission? Okay. And we can make this required as an example. So you'll see that it gets the red star. And then we can do logic. So for instance, we could only show the subheadline once information is filled out in the headline. So that could be a way of collecting information. But for now, we're not going to have any conditional logic for how we're showing the fields. We're just going to show them. So when we click on publish, this now gives us a link. If we give this link to anyone, they will come to this form, at which point they can fill this out. So let me show you how this looks and how quickly it pushes this into Airtable. So example content, my headline will be, hey, this is an exciting headline. Subheadline is 30 ways to create a form in Fillout. I can tag some channels, give it a due date, and even upload an image. So let's see if we've got an image that we can use. Let's go ahead and just pull a logo of some kind. This is not sponsored by Airbnb, by the way. Just like Airbnb. So we're happy with our content submission here, and we're going to go ahead and click submit. And you'll see that now in our database, we have a record that is the example content with all of the information we submitted into the system. Okay, so we can get information into the system. I now want to show you how, let's say, for instance, we want to update the image or the channels or the due date. Those would all be things we might want to update. I'm going to show you how you can do this really quickly through creating another form that's going to be focused on updating information instead of creating information. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back home. We're going to create a new form. This is going to be not from a template, but from a blank form. And we're going to call this update content submission. Okay. And we've gone ahead and created this form. And then on the integration, remember, you do this specifically for each form. So we're going to tell it, hey, go to the example calendar base, and we're going to do the content pipeline. Now, this time we're going to say, hey, you're going to be updating a record, and it spits out this really cool link. Okay, and it's done all the work for you, so don't worry about that. But you can copy this link, and what you're going to do is you're going to create a formula field. So we're going to call this the Fillout link update. And you're going to grab a formula field, and all you have to do is paste that URL that you copied. Now, what is this actually doing behind the scenes? And we'll cover this in an advanced class, but it just has the URL of the form here, and then it has the Airtable record ID, which is this REC. They all start with REC, and then they have a string of characters that's unique to this specific record. Now, what does this do? Well, when someone clicks on this, it tells that Fillout form what to pull into the form, because it can see, for instance, that blog, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook are the channels for this spending on security. And so it pre-populates, pre-fills the form, allowing you to make edits. Okay. So that is how it works. So once you have this link, someone clicking on this link could update the information. Now, there's a lot of ways to surface this URL for someone to make an edit. For instance, you could create an Airtable shared view in which they could click this link. You could shoot them this link like when they originally submit a form. You could have an Airtable automation that says, hey, if you need to edit it, follow this link, an email that was sent to them so they can reference it in the future. We're not going to focus on that for now. We're going to focus on how this works, how this fills out the information. Okay. So we've gone ahead and done this. And what we need to do now is decide what fields are we going to allow them to see or update as part of this. So I want to just allow for a few things. I don't want to change any of the headline name, all of that kind of stuff. I do want to put the name in here. So we're going to do that. And if they want to change the name, in this case, they could, but I'm also going to pull in the channel and not the status. I want to pull in the due date. Okay. So we've got this here. Name, channels, due date. And to sort of finish this off, we're going to go ahead and publish the form. All right. So what happens then if we click on this example content record with its custom fill out update a record form? Let's go ahead and do that. So I clicked on it and look what we've got. Filled out example content, filled out the channels and the due date. So if I wanted to update the channels, let's say it's going to be just AdWords, and I want this instead of to be May 16th, I want it to be June 16th. And now I submit that. It does not create a record, but it updates it. So now we've got just AdWords and we have June 16th, 2024. Now, ways to surface this. Well, someone, as I mentioned, you could create an email automation to send this out. We'll look at how to do that in part 2. That would be my preferred method. You could also have a view of this where you shared out the link and someone could see what they had submitted and the details and then click on that form to update it. So we'll be looking at both of those methods in our part 2 of fill out forms. I hope you enjoyed this session, this lesson. And I think one other thing to mention is get creative. Think of different ways that you might want to surface information or style the form. Maybe we could do a session just on how to style the form and make it more user-friendly. You can build sections, you can do calculations. All of those will be in future sessions. And that's it for now. Thanks for joining me. Again, my name is Andrew, co-founder at Simple Stack, and I will see you in the next lesson.